ladies and gentlemen, the Indignants.
Welcome to the first edition of Season 2, Episode 1 of The Indignants. Happy New Year, everybody. It's January 10th, and we've got a really special show tonight. We're going to do a little reminiscing about 2021, and we've got a guest that we're just trying to get on right now by the name of Rod
Yes.
Weber. And I'm communicating with him right now, so I'm going to just step off, and I'm going to give it to you guys while I bring him into Discord here, okay?
All right. Sounds good. Hi everybody.
Hello.
Funny thing, we thought
Funny
that we
thing
were
on the way
live,
to the
like,
podcast tonight.
yeah.
Oh dear.
We
We're
thought
really
that we
winning.
were live like 20 minutes ago and we talked for like, I don't know, like yeah, it was like 20 minutes almost
Yakking
and then
away, shooting
yeah,
the shit, doing
it was going
whatever,
great.
plotting a revolution.
Yep. And
Yeah,
then
no, it just didn't work out.
You know what,
nope.
though? We worked all the kinks out. We got our audio levels in
Yeah.
check. Everybody's good.
We're prepared now.
Yes.
I think. Yeah.
Yep.
Are we actually live? Are we actually like on
Are
the
we
internet
actually live?
now?
Can we double check
Can we
this?
confirm that? This-
Yeah, I believe I'm going to have faith in my technical prowess this evening,
Yes,
I believe you.
we
I
have
believe you.
faith in Matt.
Seem
and
trustworthy.
my ability to pull up our stream on my phone.
Oh, there you go.
So,
Empirical evidence. Excellent.
yes, so it's
Talk about
legit
last
now.
time, I don't.
What's that?
Well, uh, what we talked about last time, I guess, was like how silly 2021 was.
We were getting into
For everyone
that.
involved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess before we dive into stuff again, we like just want to say
Well-
happy new year to everybody, to all of our listeners. You know, whatever you're celebrating or not celebrating, we hope that you had a good winter holiday and you know, got lots of rest and got to see some loved ones safely. And yeah, we wish you guys all the best for the new year. It's now 2022, and it's probably going to be just as much of a shit
You know
show
what?
as the last 2 years. But here we are, and
No stops.
We had
yeah.
the Roaring 20s in the 20th century. I have no idea what we're going to call the 21st century 20s, but there's certainly I don't know if it's so
Well,
much
it's not gonna
roaring
be
as it is
boring.
pummeling.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
These are the
Yeah.
the 20s that I hope I can forget in like the 30s.
Yikes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
It's already been a wacky decade thus far, and like, yeah, this year is probably going to be just more of the same, if not more. I mean,
Yeah.
perhaps we want to speculate as to what our predictions for this year might be. For one, I think that
Perhaps.
there's likely going to be a significant economic crunch, given that the crypto thing, I foresee there being a valuation crisis in crypto land, and that will be strange. Because there is like it is now a significant portion of the economy, as much as a
Yeah,
game as it
there's a few
seems to
trillion
be.
dollars floating around in the crypto economy right now.
Hmm.
And
Those $1 trillion
Bitcoin is
are
down,
certainly-
what, 30% from where it was about 2 months ago?
Yep.
That's well, it's because they're all done moving their money now. They've parked it for the year, and we won't see this happen again for another, 6 to 9 months.
Mhm.
But it's interesting to see which coins fluctuate because I follow the crypto market because it's wildly entertaining. And there's like a Malaysian coin that has just been like up and down, up and down. And it's like, huh, look at that. It also seems to coincide with the political unrest in
Hmm.
Malaysia. So, but
That's
yeah, interesting things going on.
The thing is, as much as it would be cool to have a currency that is based off of crypto blockchain, like the fact that these currencies fluctuate so wildly makes them a currency in the same way as the German mark was a currency in the lead of World War II, which is to say basically worthless unless you happen to be having a really, really good day. So I like I hate to be colored as a naysayer, a poo-poo, or this new technology, but the way that it's implemented right now is just not conducive to stable economic
Well,
relationships.
I'd just like to, what
Yeah.
I'm going to throw everything in. This is, this is my number one crypto pick for 2022. Radio Shack.
Hell yeah!
I don't know if you guys have seen this, but Radio Shack is launching a cryptocurrency.
Wow, that's something else.
I just hope they call
Uh,
it the Tandy. That's
I'd buy a couple of Tandies just to watch
Yeah,
them
like
appreciate
go on
again.
that, like if you're gonna do this, like do it so that I can have some nostalgia behind it, right? Like that's but
I don't think we have an article handy, but
oh,
Symantec, or is it even known by Symantec anymore? But anyway, Norton Antivirus, their internet security suite, basically a scam bilking old people out of their money, is now includes an Ethereum mining uh, plugin by default.
yep.
So if you are running Norton Antivirus, you're mining for Ethereum. It's not opt in, it's opt out.
Yeah, and it's funny
Hmm.
because I used to work for Symantec like many, many, many
Oh,
years ago.
back
And
when they used to be a real antivirus company?
yeah, when they used to be a real antivirus company. And here's the thing. It was probably around I want to say 97 or 98 where they all of a sudden, we're sitting there and we're supporting this product and we're told that guess what? The customers are going to be unhappy because they're going to have to pay for their virus signatures. And we
Oh,
couldn't, as employees of the company that helped build these products, right? Like they, we're like, why? Why is this? This is going to crush us. Like, what are you doing? What are you thinking? And the thinking was, they could not assign a value to their virus updates unless they charged for it. The shareholders wanted to see something for that. And that kind of changed. Like that's when I noticed for me personally, the software industry on that side of things got really nasty. Like you're buying an antivirus product that you've like before you bought an antivirus product and it was good for like life. They just updated the definitions. We've spent
but
the
now it's a subscription
past,
service that if you don't subscribe to, it is useless. No matter what the purchase
yes.
price was, it is useless.
Yep, yep, no more updates. Good luck, but
It's wild.
thank God there's certain products like Clam AV and Amavis and Spam Assassin to help with all those things. And
You
yeah,
know, the last antivirus product that I used on my home computer was Norton Antivirus, but that was in 2003.
yep,
I haven't actually had an antivirus program of any kind, even Windows Defender, nothing
you've
like
got
that
Windows
on
Defender
my
turned
computer.
off.
Yeah, everything's turned off. Totally turned off.
So you
No
fully trust
antivirus
your
on.
web browsing. Good for you.
Yep,
Good
and
for
I've
you.
never had a
As
problem.
do I.
It's good.
I've never been infected by something unless it's been like my buddy, like, here, run this app. Like
It's
here,
totally not a virus.
yeah, exactly. I just got this off the news groups. You should play this with me. And I
Uh-huh.
don't. I delete them. I like it's yeah. I haven't had a virus. I don't think I've ever had a virus that I haven't intentionally given myself.
Yeah.
So
It's always fun actually to spin up a virtual machine, fire up a couple viruses and see what they do and
yep.
keep them in a little sandbox.
I
That part's
have
fun.
I have a very brutal crypto virus saved in a folder on my computer somewhere, and it's
Well, that's
great because
fun.
all it does is because there's an error in the scripting, it runs once and then just shuts down. So
Uh-huh.
that's yeah.
Having a
It's
flashback to I worked for an university residence internet network support back in my first adventure through university back in like 2003, 2004, something like that.
when the
And
internet was still kind of fun.
yeah, when it was still fun, and there was some security vulnerabilities in Windows at the time where on a LAN, a worm could just run through like wildfire.
Just
There's
public
one
shares.
called yeah, public shares, and also just like there's remote procedure calls that you can access across a LAN, and it was you could see everybody else's computers. So yes, there was rampant file sharing across the network, but there was a virtual Visual Basic script worm that passed through, and I got a handle on the source code, and I actually reprogrammed the worm so that it would download the update to close the security hole spread to everybody else around, and I effectively single-handedly eliminated that worm from our network. Great prowess myself.
On that note, does anybody remember when SolarWinds, one of the largest platforms used for remote monitoring and management of government agency computers, was hacked this year? That
Oh
seemed to
boy.
go nowhere. Yeah, they got
Mm.
good times. Good times.
Hey,
Well,
hey
and
guys.
was it
Mike's
this
back.
year? Oh yeah, I see Rod has just appeared in the server. But yeah, was it this year that well, a lot of things were this year, was that New Brunswick's healthcare system got hit with a crypto virus and got
Uh,
ransomed because like
yeah,
we're
yeah,
talking the
Newfoundland
entire
as well.
healthcare system. Yeah,
Newfoundland as
Newfoundland.
well
Yep.
got hit very hard to the point it was crippling them. And
Yeah.
this is the thing that people don't realize because they outsource a lot of their IT services nowadays. Um, you need to have backups. You need to have backups. And if your backups are not valid
Absolutely.
and you do not test your backups, and I'm not talking about Karen going and restoring her purchasing spreadsheet from last week. I'm talking like test a bare metal restore.
Yeah.
You're screwed. Like you don't have any idea how long you could be down for.
Can I interject here for a moment?
Of course, of course. I don't see you on cam yet, but
Oh,
I'm sure you're here
okay.
somewhere.
Yeah. Give me a sec here. Oh, and
May need to send an invite to the stream room there, Michael.
so yeah, what I was going to say is I have Rod, sitting in the lounge. I don't know how to bring him in here. That's what I was coming to
I
you,
will
Matt.
send him an
See,
invitation. I hope that he knows Discord.
he doesn't, just like me.
Oh boy.
Copy.
Mm.
So you're sending him in a private message.
There we go. Hold on a second here.
So we weren't sure if Rod was going to be joining us tonight.
Adam is a friend too, just in case.
Yeah, because he was invited, and then there's like miscommunication issue, and then we weren't sure if
You
he was going to
know,
be able to join. We figured, okay, it's probably not going to work out tonight because we're about to go live, and we haven't heard anything. So, yeah,
do you
sort of
know
like.
that it's different times at different places in the world at the same
I know.
time?
I
Let
know.
him
Time
Who
know
zones
that
are
he
knew?
should
different.
be getting a private message from me because I need to move screens around here.
So Adam is a friend, just in case you lose him.
So yes, it turns out that Rod Weber will be able to join us tonight, which is awesome. And he's going to talk about his film, 2020, A Dumpster Fire, called.
Yes, so Rod
And
Weber, who I've only recently become aware of, is apparently quite the, I guess,
Yeah.
ally documentarian.
Yeah. So
Yep.
just a little background on Rod, and I'm going to ask him to give it a little background on himself. He's a performer. And he'd go to all these political events and give these big politicians flowers and say, hey, let's pray for peace. And sometimes he'd get them in weird situations and stuff, and it'd be funny, and he'd sing songs and stuff. So that's how the guy sort of started out. And then I almost feel like he's getting a little more political, even more and more. His stuff's funny, it's satirical, and he just put out a new film called 2020 The Dumpster Fire. And maybe we can watch a little trailer of it in a second, but we got Rod in here.
Yes, he just
Oh,
joined. Hello,
nice.
Rod.
Hi. Can you see or hear me? I don't know how this works.
We can hear you. Can't
I
see
can
you
hear
though.
you, Rod, but if you look down on are you on your phone or are you on a computer?
a computer.
Okay, if you look down in the lower left-hand corner, you should
Yeah.
see the option to turn your camera on.
Oh, lovely.
Or
There we
sorry,
go.
I'm giving you the wrong instructions. You see on the left where it says Steam Room? Or
I
Stream
see
Room,
that.
Stream Room. Steam Room's a totally different party room.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
Okay, click on that, and then you should see like the participants.
Yes.
Okay, and then you should see the option to turn your camera on.
Oh, lovely. Well, it lets me click on my profile and then turn camera on. There we go. Okay.
Oh, getting there.
It looked like it was doing something.
Yeah,
Was.
I see my logo. I need to hit this thing.
Here we go.
There we
Quick
go.
There we
hello.
go. Hey.
Hey.
You
So
know,
now
Real
I'm gonna
quick,
adjust some
hello,
things
hello
around
to
here.
Night Owl Luna in the chat. Hello, thank you for tuning in.
So,
I
Rod,
did it.
you guys just released the film. What day was the film released?
Well, it came out in theaters on December 7th, so it was in Boston, Los Angeles, and New York for a limited release, and the video on demand release took place January 6th to coincide with all those shenanigans at the Capitol.
Nice, nice. Well, Rod, do you mind if I play your trailer?
Yeah, go nuts.
Okay, so I'm gonna
Oh wait,
set
but
this.
before
Yeah,
you
give
do
us
that, are you gonna play the censored one or the uncensored one?
Oh,
'Cause
there's a
Oh.
red tube trailer. If you want to
Hopefully-
link me
hopefully
the
the
red, is there
uncensored.
any nudity in the red tube one? In the red
No,
band?
no. Okay, so the issue is that the initial one, the original, the real one, has Vermin Supreme gets the Trumpers chanting "Suck Trump's cock."
Oh yeah, we can. There, you can suck all the cock you want on the Indignants.
Yeah.
And the thing is, with Apple TV, there was no amount of bleeping that they would allow because of the context.
Bleep the entire section.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, so it had to be taken out entirely, and I've been kind of getting in a little bit of a tussle with the distributor, making the point that I'd really like to still be able to share the good one in other outlets other than Apple TV. So if you're pulling the trailer from my YouTube channel or my Twitter, it should be the real one. Don't pull it from Apple or the other places.
Okay, when I go to
Yeah, we want
your
uncensored.
dumpster fire
Uncensored all the
emporium,
time.
there's 2020, the dumpster fire. Trump wants martial law.
That's what you're gonna do that one. All right.
Well, is that your choice, my
No,
friend?
no,
This
no.
is
Go, do the. I think you got a larger one. Like, where's the other one?
Whichever one has the censor. Yeah. That's the one
Yeah, it should just be the main one on my Dumpster Fire Emporium channel.
perfect. That's the
So
one
this
I've
channel,
here.
yeah.
Minute 16. This right here. If you click on, you see the chat window there? You see where it says Space Gaming on the left-hand side? Click on that, and you can say watch screen, and you should see this camera. Yeah. So is it this one here?
That's like a teaser.
Okay, so
it's not really the trailer. That's like some other. We literally made dozens of other things, which you're fine to show, but you really just want to go home and you press the
No,
home.
go back to
Oh.
where you were.
oh, yeah,
Go back to where
sorry.
you were, and
Yeah,
press the
just-
home button, not the videos button.
Yeah.
To left home.
Scroll down.
Can. Okay.
There's not the
so
top one there.
You must be in the new viewers view. That is so annoying. The one that says stop the prosecution. Do that one. To
This
the
one
left.
here? Excellent.
That ought to be. Yep. Do that one.
Strap on your helmets, kiddos. Rod Weber's here to call out bullshit, whether you like it or not.
I'm a document.
I remember this.
You wrote the Patriot Act, ushering 1,000 years of George Orwell.
We're calling out the bullshit that is part of the system that we're living under.
Well, how can you protect our freedom when our kids are dying?
If there's a virus out there, you take it, you get it in, and you get rid of it.
You know, it's a fine line between a cop and a fucking criminal.
Oh, New York Times where we endorse 2 people. We only get 1 vote.
We have never had anything like this in American history.
This whole argument about the violent left falls apart when you stand in front of a Proud Boy, because they throw the first punch.
Talk, drunk, talk! Talk, drunk, talk! Antifa is not an organization. Antifa is an idea.
I think that is a great example of ethical trolling at its best.
Nice.
So, before we proceed, Rod, I have to ask you to show me the Antifa handshake because I need to know legitimately involved with the organization.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course. So I have to say I'm actually stoked to see this, and I'm going to probably have to subscribe. I think it's where can I find it in Canada? Like who's streaming it in Canada?
Apple
YouTube is,
TV.
right?
Oh, geez, that's a good question. I think
Apple TV.
and Google, I would think.
Yeah, I think I can. I think it's available on YouTube. Yes, I can rent this on like YouTube as a film, so that's kind of cool.
Yes, perfect. How do I go back to being able to see you guys?
Okay, so on the left, just click on Stream Room
Where the hell is that?
in Discord.
Oh, I know, I'm just terrible here. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Okay.
Hey,
No,
it
it's
looks
all
like you're a
good.
much better
We're all new at
filmmaker
this
than
event.
I am, so that's the key
well,
aspect there.
what I'm seeing is just the screen. It looks like my YouTube page still.
Oh.
Near the bottom of the screen, there's
Screen?
it says stop watching.
Stop
There's a red button that says stop watching.
There are no red buttons here.
You may need to put your mouse near the bottom for it.
I mean, look, there's that one. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, there you go. Cool.
There you go. There you go. So,
Love.
Rod, welcome
Discord
to the
takes some getting used to.
Indignants. How did you how did this come about? This film project? Like, there's obviously a lot of footage in there. You seem to be a very well-traveled man.
Well, first of all, how do I share this link out to my social media right now so I can get some people on here? I don't know if
I will message it to you right now.
Okay, you're messaging this where?
Right on.
Discord?
Mike can send it to you on Facebook. He's got all your contacts. Mike's in
Okay.
charge of sending the links around here.
And I got no access to Facebook right now either. So
This is a very well-oiled machine.
Absolutely.
We're professionals. We know exactly what we're doing.
Yeah.
Well, we're in season 2 now, so
my
so
dog's
we
caught in
have
their
a whole
heater here. Hang
season
on.
to
And Mike's now on fire.
Yeah, and,
He did say his dog is caught in the heater. I
Yeah.
thought I'd misheard that.
Yeah, no,
Alright.
it's been a. We
little
were just
infirm.
reminiscing about 2021 and how it kind of blended into 2020, and yeah, clearly you have quite the perspective on where we are today. So give me some insight.
I guess to answer your question, how did I get into making 2020 the dumpster fire? Well, I guess we would have to go back to, I'd say, pull back the lens to about 2014. At that stage, I had been out of the movie business for a couple of years, and I was doing largely art projects. And I had spent the majority of the year 2014 doing a performance art project, which was called Flowers for Peace, where I would just I traveled around the country giving flowers to strangers for the majority of 2014, which turned me into a bit of a Vine star within a couple of weeks. I had 85,000 followers and people making all kinds of tribute videos. And it was kind of a ridiculous phenomenon that went on for about a year and a half, 2 years there. And I decided to harness that power and bring it to the world of politics. And when the New Hampshire primaries started up in 2015, I on the 4th of July parade that they traditionally have during the New Hampshire primaries, all the not most of the politicians, I should say, get on their floats and they wave to everyone. And afterwards, there's a meet and greet. And I took a flower to Jeb Bush and offered it to him, and we kind of made a little deal of, what can you do in exchange for this flower? He said he'd give me a prayer for peace.
If you've gone to
and which led to since that was such an interesting and weird interaction going on about Lady Bird announcing Highway beautification in 1965, because he'd asked me where I got the flower, and I said he was afraid that I'd stolen it from someone. And so I wowed him with my knowledge of U.S. Presidential history, and a bit of a quasi, campaign trail friendship began at, because I hesitate to claim any kind of friendship with the Bush family, being as though they are war criminals going back to Prescott Bush and their friendship with Brown Brothers Harriman and that guy Hitler and all that. But that's neither here nor there. Jeb seems like a very nice guy. And so, to his next rally, I brought 20 of them and said, will you give me 20 prayers for this? And he said yes, and all the cameras went click, click, and everyone thought it was weird because there I am with the top hat and all the flowers in my beard, and making myself to look like an acid casualty, which then led to me thinking, well, I'm going to really blow his mind and just show up at his next rally at Iowa. And he's given his speech about alluding to Donald Trump, that Donald Trump's a very mean man and that he prefers to campaign with hugs and love. And oh my God, I just saw this man in New Hampshire the other day, and he points to me.
I saw that, yeah.
He knows about hugs, and so I said, it's like you, and I jumped and ran on the stage. But he went for it, and we gave the explanation about the flowers and the prayers for peace. And he asked, "What are you doing here now?" And I said, "Well, I thought we could do a prayer in person." And at that stage, I basically politely hijacked his rally. And he was like, "All right, brother, let's do it." And so we held hands and bowed our heads, and there was an awkward moment of silence, and like we both look at each other, and he's like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I said, "Hey man, you're the one running for president. I want you to give a prayer for peace." And so and that's how I knew that would be my end, because if it was just me doing it, it would be a one and done and moving on. But I kind of saw my opportunity for him to use me as a useful idiot. This is they're all about quid pro quo, these guys. And afterwards, he says to me, that was great, and so long as you don't do anything beyond what you're doing that makes me look bad, then this could be a good productive relationship. And so that continued.
The grifting automatically starts, right? Like,
oh yeah, oh yeah, no
for
doubt.
A penny in for a pound now.
Yeah, for sure. And so then Lindsey Graham got on in the action, as did John McCain, and also John Kasich. In his case, we started to make the guitar a big part of it. He didn't want to so much do the flowers thing, but I started just showing up with a guitar in hand, not to disrupt the rally. And that was always the thing, is that I was going with this philosophy of a spoonful of sugar, and look like a freak, have all the gear of a freak, and all the security staff, by and large, was very much freaked out by that in the beginning, whether it was Jeb's people or whoever. But then I got to be known as Flower Man, and it was okay until the politician requested my services. At which point, I think the first big one with Kasich, I showed up with the Ziggy Stardust makeup on my face, because we'd gotten in this conversation, I think the week before that, where Showtime's The Circus was there, and God, what was it? David Bowie had died the day before, and so we just started chatting
Ground
about that.
control to Major Tom. Yeah.
Right, and so Kasich started singing it on his own. Just sight on scene, just starts singing as you were, ground and control of Major
Major
Tom.
Tom. Yeah.
And so I pipe in, take your protein pills, and he's just going right along, and he's hamming it up before time to start. Oh, hey, yeah, got the clip right there.
Do you mind if I play the audio, or can we get away with the audio?
Yeah, go for it. Can you hear it?
Well, I mean, it's all about what David Bowie sang about. Ground control to Major Tom.
If you don't hear it, Rod, on the chat participants in the window in front of you, yeah, you're good.
Oh, no, not that. Here we go.
Take your protein pills and put your helmet on.
That's good, huh? How about that?
Far above the world. You invited it, man.
Only at a town hall in New Hampshire. Give him a round of applause.
So, like, this access that you're getting is phenomenal. Not just being the slightly nice guy.
Was the guy that was going around with Sarah Palin in 2012, and so I figured I was applying a similar principle here, and just with my own character, and it was working out fairly well in that it got all kinds of coverage. You see in the final movie that scene that you just watched there. What we would do is pool all the different video angles, and by and large, I didn't even really need to have a large production crew with me because it's fair use when you're just using little snippets, and everyone was covering it anyhow, which is one of the things that I picked up from Vermin Supreme. He made the point: as long as you're a big enough freak, people are going to point 100 cameras at you anyhow. You don't really need to have a camera crew.
I seriously think you, Vermin, Michael, are living and walking memes. There's very few people in the world that I would say that about, but the three of you guys are definitely that.
Well, you're much too kind. But yeah, so that continued even into I sang a couple bars of Bowie with Ted Cruz because so right after Bowie died, then Lemmy died. And so it was Bowie and Lemmy and Glenn Frey from the Eagles. And so that became the discussion with Ted Cruz, which then led to again like more shenanigans with him out in Iowa, and flowers to Rick Perry at his this was the best one. He had gotten together this little news conference at which he was trying to pack full of blue collar workers. This is while back when people still knew who Rick Perry was, and one of my side techniques, aside from dressing like the Big Freak Show, was to just get like a little trucker hat, and it went along with the big beard as long as I didn't have the flowers there, and I just wore a crummy backpack and filled it up with Black-Eyed Susans, and it was this little room where they'd invited CNN and AOL and probably Fox News or whoever it is. And when he's done giving his speech for all the cameras in this very small room, where he brought in, like a handful, maybe like 5 guys that he thought was blue collar. He's like, I got time for 2 questions. And I mean, it's just going to be the blue collar guys to make him seem folksy. And so immediately I raised my hand, go for it, because I don't want to lose my opportunity. And I said, hey, do you remember me? I gave you a flower on the street at the 4th of July parade back in New Hampshire. would it be possible if I could do the same thing I've been doing with Jeb and get you to take this bundle and do 20 prayers for? And he was just, I mean, he was fucking mortified. It utterly ruined his little blue collar
Oh,
circus.
yeah.
He was, you could tell he was fuming underneath. But
I don't get to be like, I want to turn a wrench, not smell flowers and pray.
they are forced.
Wrong message. Yeah.
They're absolutely forced to play along as long as you go in there and don't disrupt. I know. I mean, there's something to be said for those people who do disrupt.
Something to
But
be
it's
said for being face to face with Ted Cruz and not like in the little sucker punch to the kidneys.
But hostility creates
I
defensiveness.
know. I
And
know.
if defensiveness comes up, you can't stab them.
well, actually, I mean, going back to Ted Cruz over New Hampshire. So there was another one. I think maybe a couple weeks after that, where Vermin and I and a large contingent of Vermin acolytes um, had
Herman acolytes.
found the Ted Cruz rally, running through the snow, probably tripping balls. It's hard to say what was going on for sure. But we had surrounded the bus, and Furman, managed to give his free pony speech, and sometimes we would intentionally split up, but he managed to get close to Ted Cruz as Cruz was going in the building, and he gives his usual, are you for free ponies or not, yada yada. Cruz says, well, I'm not for anything free. Says, well, how about mandatory dentistry? Well, of course he's not for anything mandatory, and goes about his way as people kind of push Vermin away. But I had circled around, and this was the thing. It was two pronged. If he covers one door and I cover the other, then we have a better chance of at least one of us hitting whoever the politician is, and they can't escape that way. But so since Vermin was able to hit him up front, I pulled off the top hat and switched back into kind of undercover trucker mode.
Undercover trucker. I can't wait.
and just started filming to see what I would get. And almost right off the bat in his speech, he actually gave this insane talk about Vermin Supreme, which is one of the best parts of the This Is Vermin Supreme movie, which is a parallel universe as far as the Rod Webber movie world goes. There's Flowers for Peace, which was my film following my story through 2016. And when we got to the end of all that, I discovered I had so much footage of Vermin that I pitched them the idea of just crafting a narrative that we could have a Vermin Supreme 2016 film. And so that became a part of that one. As well as all his other crazy memorable moments, and so in that sense became a sequel to Steve Onderich's 2012 film, Who is Vermin Supreme, and 2020 The Dumpster Fire in a way is the sequel to all of those.
So this is kind of like an Edgar
love it.
Wright trilogy that's kind of like wrapping everything up, right? Like
Yes.
Are you
And,
kind of hoping you don't have to make another one? Is that...
when you get to the end of it, you always have that thought. But as the next election starts creeping up, and 4 years has passed, it's kind of like, be fun, maybe.
Well, not much is changing. Like we're up in Canada, obviously, so we only have that overview of what's going on down in the States, and I have to say, by far more entertaining. Like I have been riveted to your political system for, gosh, like it's almost it's
whole
over a
world has.
decade now, but
In
I
comparison to
I was one of
ours,
those ones that
ours is
admitted
boring.
right off the hop, I'm like, Hillary stands no chance. And people would, oh, you must be supporting Donald Trump. And it's like, no, I'm not supporting Donald Trump,
No.
but I'm prepared for the fire of a dumpster that Donald Trump brings with him and the
Oh yeah.
torchlight onto the American system. So that's
Only
yeah.
celebrities can be president.
very early on, I was predicting that Donald Trump would take it because the Democrats weren't going to go with the outsider candidate. Had they chosen Bernie, the Democrats would have crushed them. But I just knew that they would never do it.
Yep.
Yeah.
As soon as they pushed Bernie out, Donald Trump was able to claim that throne of "I'm the everyman. I'm here for you. I am you," like, which is bewildering
Yeah.
because like
Preposterous, but
my golden plane says that we're equals. That's
It's like how Tucker Carlson tries to play himself as the everyday guy too, right?
oh yeah,
Swanson
Air
TV dinner.
Air
Yeah.
Swanson fortune,
Yeah.
with all kinds of ridiculous names that seem like he should be one of the extras on Trading Places.
Right.
every time I cut into a Salisbury steak, I do it extra hard.
Hey, how did you meet Vermin, by the way?
I was okay. So back in 2004, I was filming a caper comedy film with this guy, Tiny the Terrible, who I ended up after that documenting his 2006 campaign for mayor of Pawtucket. He's a midget wrestler who'd been on WWE and Jerry Springer numerous times. And this was a situation where he was just such an outlandish person that it became my first full-on political film. And as the 2012 campaign came around, I felt as though I just had to get Vermin and Tiny together. And because of some of my other responsibilities for other film projects that I'd been on, I was not able to really get to too many events on the 2012 campaign trail, and where I just bump into them where it's much more easy to do. And so I just kept hitting them up basically, and I'm like, I got to get you guys together, and so that's it basically.
Right on.
I think we'd probably been. I know that I'd been doing a lot of weird political artwork, which I mean, we probably knew each other. I think on social media by DMs, during the Romney stuff in 2008. And anyhow, it became one of those things where at a certain point, it was just time to break out and do it fully in the world, as opposed to simply being behind the camera. Because truth be told, it's just goddamn easier, and I think I had an aptitude and at least a little bit of. If I was able to do it myself, I'd be able to cover topics that were of interest to me. Whereas if it's much harder to keep finding a character like Tiny the Terrible, or once you've done one with Vermin, well then who's next? I guess it could be Mike Picard.
Big fans of Mike Picard around
Yeah.
here. He is.
We love him. Yeah.
Do you remember Charlie Vashek or Love Police guy at all?
Yep.
Yeah. I wonder whatever's happened with him. I used to watch his stuff back in the day and find it really amusing.
So I have to say, I'm rather like, this is bewildering to me, right? The access you were granted, knowing that you have this history. Like, did nobody like on these campaign events go, Rod Weber? Like, do they not like? It's like,
Wow.
I love
Because like up here, we've tried to get into political things, and yeah, our names are we're activists too, so maybe that's part of it. So our names are on lists, and
Well, I mean,
He looks trustworthy.
Actually, I'll tell you something about the look. Is that I decided that I wanted to grow the beard as big as possible, specifically because then I couldn't be mistaken for anyone else, and they assume that's just who you are. And if they were to look me up and see any of my prior incarnations where, oh my God, I have a shaved face, they're so obsessed with trying to get that win, trying to get the money, trying to do their day-to-day bullshit that they don't have time for that. They did a quick search. I don't know. I see a couple things of the guy with a beard. That's it. They're not going to do. They didn't bother to do deep dives. Quite honestly.
Wow. I have a script that deep dives on like people's names. It's like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm well. It's quite possible that folks like Clinton and Trump did, because Trump is self obsessive lunatic, and Clinton already had Secret Service protection. I know that Clinton's Secret Service would stop me numerous times and wouldn't let me near her. So it's quite possible they did the proper
Yeah, I
research.
guess they kind of evaluate the win of the moment versus, the fallout, right? Obviously. So,
And so it's quite possible that Clinton did do the proper background searches.
yeah.
Um,
I think that the Democrats have to. They're like, yeah, I don't know. You brought up the 2024 election. I don't even know how the Democrats can run a candidate at this point. Like, I can't.
yes, well, yeah, I mean, Joe's just gonna fall asleep on them. And I'm sure, like, Clinton's, banging on the door saying, "Let me go again, let me go."
Do you
Yeah.
I'm so glad that I am outside of the Clintonite secret circle. Like I have a bunch of
I
Wesleyan
think we
college
all are.
graduate friends that are like they're already carrying the Hillary flags, and I can't.
Cringe.
It's as cringe as the
Yes.
thought that Trump is actually going to win again in 2024.
Wouldn't it be wild to have a rematch of Clinton versus Trump in
Oh my
2024?
God,
Didn't
no.
we have it twice?
Because Trump will win. Yeah, no, 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 no.
Oh, God. Yeah,
So,
Trump
question
again, by
for
the
you,
way.
Rod.
Yeah.
Do you ever get in a really sticky situation that you think, shit, how am I going to get out of this?
Oh, I would say our current situation.
Oh no, I mean personally, when you go to one of these, no, when you
Like
go to one of
globally,
these
this
things,
yeah.
or
Fair point,
yeah,
though. It's a
yes,
good
good
point.
point. Yeah.
This podcast is hell. What's going on here?
My connection
Oh,
is
yeah.
breaking up.
Like, have you ever gone to one of these events and things gone south?
Oh, 100%. It hasn't always been political comedy, merry pranksters kind of stuff. I do spend a large part of my time doing that, but I did direct a serious film about Standing Rock called The War of North Dakota, and I witnessed all the brutality that occurred there by an oil company which had basically purchased several police departments to commit acts of violence at their behest. Your very definition of fascism, the merger of
Yeah,
uh, cor-
and that's just
corporations.
been proven now too, right? Like those documents were just released
Oh,
through a FOAI request that says they literally bought police departments during that.
yeah, I think it was very clear at the
Yeah.
time, at least for those of us who were there. Even if it's just the nod of the eye. But I also did a film called The Oppressed Majority, which is uh, a serious look at Proud Boys affiliates, a group called Boston Free Speech, which then became Resist Marxism, which then later became Super Happy Fun America, which they were doing obviously to troll the left wingers. And they put on 2019's Straight Pride Parade, which made all kinds of headlines. But during the process of that, um, I was documenting as many Proud Boys and Proud Boy related events as possible, and you know what ended up becoming the movie is probably only 20% of the rallies and things that I went to, but I felt as though films like Alt Right Age of Rage. When that came out, it was very clear that that was going to be the definitive project about these groups, and so decided to make my focus about this Boston centered group, especially because I am from Boston and I had a lot of footage about these guys. And Vermin was also at that one, and Vermin was at Standing Rock. Vermin's in my Standing Rock film. He's at the Straight Pride film, and I don't want to get into the boring details of guys kidnapped by mercenaries, Tiger Swan at Standing Rock. In the case of the Straight Pride Parade, it was the they had hired Milo Yiannopoulos to be the Grand Marshal,
Oh yes,
where he was cucking himself out, against his own gay interests to
oh,
get
he's
his hand.
heterosexual now, right? He's heterosexual and he's selling like religious trinkets online. This is
Well, it's a wonderful grift, and I think that's all he was left with after all this. Um, but it was, at that particular one, everyone was headed home, and the cops decided, oh my God, we haven't had our riot yet. So basically, they sent out the riot cops to chase after everyone who was walking home from the protest. Kind of, did their best to kettle us in. I saw that they were doing it. I got on my megaphone and said, have you given an order to disperse? And if so, I can say so on my megaphone and help to avoid any violence here. And of course, they didn't respond. They just charged at us. At which point, so I was live streaming, and I calmly walked onto the sidewalk, knowing that they would make the claim. See, this is the thing. There are different modes that I go into depending on the situation. Sometimes I'm there as a strict filmmaker, journalist. Sometimes I'm there trolling. Sometimes we're putting on spectacle, like lighting an effigy on fire. In this particular case, I was in my role as a serious filmmaker, and the bullhorn wasn't there, to to mock Ted Cruz. It was simply, hey, I'm going to pass along this message. And so the way that I was live streaming on that particular day was like this. I got wonderful footage of them tackling from behind. They fucked up my leg real good, and that went. They arrested me, and my video went viral while I was in jail. And once I got out, um, the NLG brought us a bunch of public defenders, and they basically suggested that the judge is going to offer everyone here 8 hours of community service, and you can go home and
So what's next?
bye. And I. I'm a bit older than a lot of the folks like in their 20s. I'm in my 40s, and I think it was for a lot of them it was their first time, and they're like, oh, hey, what else can you do? And I immediately stood up and said, are you kidding me? Did we do all of this? Just because they made some, I believe 36 arrests. It was just a mass arrest of people who had done nothing other than to show up to protest these straight pride fuckers. And basically I don't know, they were young, and the vast majority decided that they wanted to take the lead. And I said, the lawyers were beside me, there's no fucking way I'm doing that. And just as a heads up too, I'm going in there with a religious covering. It's like, well, how do you mean? I'm like, I'm wearing my, if they're gonna make it a First Amendment issue, I'm making it a First Amendment issue. And he's like, you can't do that. And I said, I can, and I am going to do that. I want to let you know. And so I attempt to go in. They don't let me in. They say I have to sit out in the hallway. And then I don't know, about a half hour later, they come out and they arrest me. And so the judge then hauls me into shackles in the courtroom, and makes all these proclamations, basically becoming a judge, jury, and executioner, when actually the prosecutor had asked for there to be a null pros, meaning in Latin that's it's nolle prosequi, which is to not prosecute, because it was my case was very public. Everyone had known that I hadn't done anything wrong. I hadn't run away. I hadn't disobeyed orders. In fact, I was, trying to be a peacekeeper, between the police and the crowd. I was trying to prevent anyone from being hurt. So the prosecutor, in this rare instance, was on my side, and as a result, the judge got he basically got so it got sent up to the higher courts, and the judge got slapped by the higher courts, and he got investigated, which honestly is it's just a slap on the wrist, but that made a whole set of other kind of I don't know, headlines and bullshit in the public. But I mean, at your question, so situation where protesters who were out of the pipeline. One day, the following day, I wanted to go back and get some better close-ups with my camera, and so I showed up alone, which is number one rule. Like, just never do that. But sometimes you get some big balls about yourself, and it's one of those days, and I was not on Dakota Access Pipeline property. I was on the public road. It's a dirt road, and I was surrounded by all these guys in trucks. And they basically tackled me and hogtied me and left me for about 45 minutes before one of the more sensible mercenaries decided that, hey, there it is, that my hands were turned and decided to tie straps. At which point I jumped up and made a break for it, and it's just in the process of getting up while you've been hogtied. Yeah, it's not as easy to run away as you might think. It's not like in the movies. And so it was pretty easy for them to tackle me and take me down. That was one of the situations where I was, I was a little bit more worried about my well-being because I had no fucking idea. I mean, it was like they talk about people getting black bagged. On that day, it was one of those fucking days. And
Totally
that,
understandable because it happens all the time. It happens all the time, right? Like, guess what? We're going to disappear you for a week and ruin your life, and just yeah. Yeah,
In
so
fact, actually, I think what you're watching right there, it's actually on this day. I think it was after the kerfuffle that's currently on screen. But I think, yeah, you're just playing a clip. So, yeah, don't worry about it. I mean,
yeah, no worries. It's your
you can
lineage
watch
is
the,
legit. So,
yeah, no, I'm just. I would say out in Portland, we're at the Chaz, as it was known up in Seattle. I was at both of those, as well as the protests in New York and Washington, and anywhere I could get my ass to, really. But god damn it, the guys in Portland, people in Portland, they go hard every day
Yeah.
and night.
Yeah.
Oh my god. And the thing is that Andy Ngo and Fox News and all these kind of people, they always reported as the lefties causing violence and mayhem. But the reality of the situation, which I tried to record, was in the daytime at the park in front of the courthouse where most of this took place night after night. There were families with babies and picnics and just people hanging out. I think there was something like 18 barbecue grills, and it was a massive picnic and people just having fun. And when it started to get dark, that's when the federal police would get on their big loudspeaker system and say that it's an illegal assembly and that people had to disperse. And it's at that point that everyone starts, banging their sticks or their shields or whatever it may be, and begin protesting for their right to protest. And so, to any of those Fox News or conservatives who to try to make the argument to me that it's the lefties starting this, I try to remind them, I thought you guys purport to be the party of free speech. In my experience, it was day after day after day of these lefties out there just saying, "Are you fucking kidding me? We just want to be out here in the park and chill the fuck out."
yep,
And
yep.
now you've got a bunch of guys in riot gear showing up.
They were serving ribs at the park. There's the Antifa ribs or something like that out of
So yeah,
Seattle.
riot ribs is what it's
Riot
called.
ribs, riot ribs.
Riot
That's what it is.
ribs.
I was close. I was close. Like I
No,
watched a lot of that. Like a lot, and Seattle's still going hard. I don't know how anybody sleeps in that town anymore, but Yeah, like there was no instigation on the part of the
Right.
left. Like nothing would happen until all of a sudden you've got the federales in the I think it was their municipal building or the federal building, and they'd start lobbing out the flashbangs and like trying. We're gonna physically disperse this crowd with offensive weaponry, and then it's like, okay, motherfuckers, like
And so I would say, the scariest of scary, beyond that would be Minneapolis, directly after the George Floyd protests. When I saw that it was going down, proverbial speaking, I got my ass out there, and the town was being set on fire, which is, I mean, it's something to see if you haven't ever seen anything like that in person. Um, the fear isn't, so much that you're going to catch on fire. You're not so close to any of these buildings most of the time, where that's going to happen. Although I did have the wall of a Wendy's collapsed almost on me at one point. I do not have good footage of that because it was actually behind me, and it was one of those times where I just had to run away. I couldn't get it on film. Um, but that said, as things progressed, you would get the right wingers in their pickup trucks just speeding by and occasionally just popping off their guns. I don't know if they were shooting at us or shooting in the air, but that was the scariest shit. To
this is
think that
why we
they,
have the Rittenhouse shit, right? Because they thought they could go down and just, arbitrarily shoot people and just blame it on the rioters, get away with it, get their free kill.
yep.
That's
And it was, well, and then the second option is that they could just hit you with their truck.
Yep.
And so as that progressed, the cops started coming by in white cargo vans and unmarked ones, by the way, and they'd roll through the streets. And when they found a large enough group of protesters, they'd swing open the van door and just pop off flashbangs, like at not supposed to do it at people. They were basically hunting protesters, and that's what we called it. And everyone said you're crazy when you talk about it, even though I had it all on video. I mean, it had been tweeted out and seen tens of thousands of times, but compared to the tens of millions of times that's seen on the mainstream news, no one's heard of me, doesn't care what I have to say, and it takes too much effort to go to my Twitter feed. But then, of course, I think it was about October of last year, then another FOIA request out the body cams. And sure enough, exactly as we said, the cops were out there hunting protesters. On top of that, the National Guard were typically, seen as the more rational group, in contrast to the police. Um, and I say more, the more rational group. They're still suspect as they are a policing force. But one of the craziest scenes that I'd seen, and mind you, this is just after George Floyd had a knee on his neck for 7 minutes and 46 seconds. If I'm getting that number right, I believe that's what it was. So I come upon this vehicle where they're tearing this black guy out of his truck, and he's holding on to the windshield wiper, or like the hood of the car there, like just what the fuck are you doing, man? This is my car. um and it was another one of these situations where you have a policing force. You have a couple cops, or I guess I should say National Guard in this case, who are getting carried away. And you get another group that talk some sense into them, and they're like, "Oh, holy shit, we're on camera." It's like this is like we're doing another George Floyd event, like at the George Floyd protest, and they just basically like dropped their shit and ran over their Humvee. At which point, all like this guy who they just pulled out of their truck is like, "What the fuck is this?" He runs over the Humvee while some other National Guardsmen are like hop in his car. They steal his car.
What?
So then the dude jumps on top of the Humvee, and along with a couple other guys, and the Humvee just floors it down the road. A bunch of folks fall off it, but the main guy was determined, and he stayed on it. You're like, oh my god, like he just gets smaller and smaller in the distance, and still to this day, I don't know what happened to that guy.
Wow.
But if you look up on my Twitter feed and do at Rod Weber and do a cross search with National Guard or hashtag National Guard, I don't know, you might be able to find that one. That was one of the crazier scenes at the George
Jesus.
Floyd protests. But yes, I guess I've over answered your question as to
No. No.
Oh wait,
Yeah,
wait.
that's-
Well, so again, my
Oh,
initial
wait. Pause.
was actually as to.
Yes, I did.
Oh yeah.
Let's see what this is.
Is this his car?
It's his car, he said, I think.
And they're taking it from him? Why?
No idea.
Don't let go, bro. Don't let go. 4 ain't enough. 4 ain't enough. Don't let go. 4 ain't enough, bro. 4 ain't enough. Let him go. Don't let go.
Guys, why you gotta do this again? Why?
Hold on to that shit!
4 ain't enough.
Just let him go.
Yeah, make him get some more. Make him get some more. Come over here, bro. Watch out, strong.
Let him go, man.
There's the light on now.
Let him go.
Don't let go. Don't let go. 4 ain't enough. 4 ain't enough.
And why the fuck y'all driving this car?
Whoa.
Why y'all driving this car?
Yeah, they take his car and.
Get on that bitch! Get on
And then
that
they
bitch!
just
Get
Watch
on
this.
that bitch! It's our car now!
what?
Just give it a second.
Hit the gas then. Hit the gas then.
But, you know, it's like they're trying to occupy the Humvee, and then
Yeah,
the Humvee,
yeah, exactly.
you know, then the Humvee drives off, which is scary.
Oh my god.
Whoa. It's got balls of steel.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Oh my fucking god.
Like, at what point is this like attempted manslaughter?
Holy
Yeah.
shit. That guy's on there. He's
But
on
so
that
in
Humvee.
regard to yes, I don't know where he went. I did track him down. But actually, as to your original question, there any situations where I think I couldn't get out. There was, you know, some of the drive-by shooting situations that I told you about, and there's, you know, there's footage of the trucks and them firing off the guns I told you about. But the biggest one right now is the situation with the FBI, who have conducted, well, they've helped to make at least 5 grand juries convene in regard to the trailer to 2020 the dumpster fire. So kind of the backstory on that one is, remember I told you about the Donald Trump rally where I had been called upon to recite scripture. So did that. I got roughed up. Went to the following event, which was not a Donald Trump event. It was a multi-candidate thing. I raised my hand politely, and for that, basically got roughed up, dragged out, and when I asked to press charges on the Donald Trump staff who did it, as well as the police who were off duty but in uniform, which made them acting under the color of law, they performed a retaliatory arrest. And so first I had to go to court to prove my own innocence, which I did through a lawyer friend. And then for the next 3 years, attempted to find an attorney who would put forward a civil case for me. I could not find that, so I simply learned how to become a lawyer and put forward the civil case on my own, and went after them for assault, battery, false arrest, false imprisonment. Basically threw the book at him.
Mhm.
And I prevailed. And so the Manchester police ended up paying me 15 grand. The Trump campaign paid me 20 grand. And the head guy, Trump's main goon, was an FBI agent. And so, the thing that they always say about this is, while I might prevail against them legally, well, we have our ways. And certainly they do. So the settlement happened in late December of 2020, right before Christmas. And then of course January 6th and all those shenanigans went down. And on January 13th, I was approached by a Boston cop who had been deputized as JTTF, otherwise known as the Joint Terrorism Task Force, an FBI. So that was Agent Andy Creed, Agent Steve Kimball, who was full FBI, and Secret Serviceman David Kennedy. And they accused me of a plot of an attempt. I should say falsely, because I don't want any words to be taken out of context here. They falsely accused me of a plot to assassinate Donald Trump. For
Are you
fucking
fucking
real.
kidding me?
I wish I was, but
I've never heard this. This is crazy.
And is this
now.
after the settlement?
Oh yeah, this is right after the settlement. Yeah.
Jesus Christ, like
So
they
this
never
is more
learn.
retribution.
Oh, of course. Yeah, it's absolutely retaliation. So, in the course of discussion, and initially, I'm thinking to myself, like, okay, I'll talk to them for a second, just dispense with it because it's such a ludicrous claim. I, knowing full well in activist circles, they always say don't talk to the cops for any reason whatsoever. But me being me, I'm kind of interviewing them, and that's the way that I've always viewed it. And believe me, I will never do that again because they say that for good reason. They have the ability to take anything you say and do, no matter how absurd or outlandish, they can take that out of context. And so I should point out Steve Kimball, who's the full-on FBI agent, is 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 perhaps the biggest clown show member of the Boston FBI or just the FBI in general. You go back to the Boston bombing case, which back in 2014, he was the agent who took the stand using out of context Key and Peele quotes as well as clips from Tosh.0 to make the case that Sarniev had made certain terroristic threats. Now you look at the Key and Peele clip, and they have one called CIA interrogation. And it's very clear to me that it's making a reference to this. I made a short 20-minute documentary actually about the whole FBI investigations, which you can also find up on my YouTube channel, which touches upon all of this. And he became very well known for just lying on the fucking stand using comedy quotes. Now, mind you, I mean, obviously the Boston Marathon bomber is a fucking piece of shit. Like, I mean, and so a broken clock is, right twice a day. And it, the way that I've heard it amongst the lawyers is just, to say that, Steve Kimball disgraced the office of the FBI. That, I mean, we know that they've always been a disgrace, but they extra disgraced it on that day. But so this is the agent going after me. And when they arrive, they're so they admit that it was on the claim of a Proud Boy, in conjunction with January 6th. And in the trailer, you can see at the very end there of what you saw. There's this mannequin, so we had set up a bunch of mannequins for a promotional piece. One says truth, justice. The other, like I forget what each mannequin said, but that kind of thing. Truth, justice, the American way. I think one said Green New Deal, and and one had an anarchy sign. But the idea was that we were making a rebuke to the Stop the Steal nonsense that was going on, in which they were making claims of martial law. You obviously read that a little bit earlier. Trump wants martial law. We were making a mockery of that, and so um, they say that this Proud Boy says that you're popping off some guns, shooting at a mannequin that says Trump on it, and it was just so ludicrous. I said, it says truth. You kidding me? And so I show him the mannequin, but at this point, um, he starts asking me some other questions which make me uncomfortable, and I'm not going to go into too much more detail about it at this stage. But let's just say that well, I should also say that, I mean, going back to the comedy bit, the way that he led into this conversation, which made it seem so harmless, is that, they're talking about porn star Ron Jeremy and the giant dicks and giant vaginas that we had used at some of these things to troll the Trumpers. I mean, they're just talking about the silliest and raunchiest parts of our performance art that we one of the things that we would do, me and my wife and our friends, we'd make like a giant dick that says Trump on it and show up at a Trump rally and be like, "Hey, we're for Trump. What's wrong?" um, and it was, "No, this is a dick, man." I'm like, "Yeah, we're dicks for Trump."
Yeah,
I do want to see that suck dick, Trump's dick thing. I got to find that somewhere for sure.
Yeah, yeah. I think it might, the SEO on that might be "suck Trump's cock."
Good luck getting that through the algorithms on the filters, right?
Right.
Right. But so long story short, they come back with a subpoena, and they basically say now that they're targeting my wife Lauren, and that we're gonna get you like Martha Stewart. I'm like, what?
Wow.
Martha Stewart? What are
You're
you
gonna
fucking
start
talking
doing a cooking show with Snoop? Like,
Yeah, I was, right. That's what I thought in my head. I'm like, what does that even
I'm a
mean?
billionaire all of a sudden? I don't get
Yeah.
this.
And so they're like, yeah, no, lying to the FBI. And so this is why they say don't talk to these guys at all, because their intent. So this is how they have a rule of thumb. And it's for one agent to do the interviews while one takes down notes on a notepad. And if you ask to record them, they won't do it, because their whole methodology is that whoever's writing it down miswrites it. They create the story that they want to create. Then, when people are called into the grand jury, you're expected to say whatever they've written down on the notepad, and you have no way to rebut it because you don't have a recording. And so one of the witnesses actually, once it got into these grand jury investigations, I mean, let's just put it this way: is he was making confessionals. He had gotten a proffer deal, which is basically means that you talk to the prosecutor in exchange for immunity. And so he admitted this to me. He actually took a photo of his proffer deal and he posted it up on his Instagram. I have copious amounts of evidence to prove that he did what I say he did. Although collecting that evidence in the manner in which I did, they might say, well, they might try to get me on new charges for having done that, because they make it difficult, if not illegal. And I'm not going to, and this is why it's so difficult to talk about these things. You see where I
Yep.
mean, like it
Yep.
makes me a
Yeah,
little
we
bit,
can leave it there. Yeah.
it makes me a little bit tongue tied about it.
Yeah.
But long story short, he admitted to me, and I can prove it, that he lied on the stand at the behest of the prosecutor, so that he wouldn't lose his immunity, because he was claiming that the prosecutor said that they were going to get him for perjuring himself, which he's like, no, like the lie that they made me tell was the perjury.
Yeah.
And I mean,
Well, you've
we're
dug
not
that
we
hole
won't
now. You got to stick with it, or we're gonna get you.
right. And so if you follow my document, the 20-minute documentary that I put out there, you'll see why this is actually a threat to the FBI, because they now see that I do have the proof. I don't put it all out there. I'm just leaving little breadcrumbs so that they know that if they pursue this, they're going to get caught in the lie. And they're the ones that have been lying from the start. So to that end, that's the answer to my question. The fear of what situation we can't get out of, because as the old saying goes, a grand jury can indict a ham sandwich. Meaning, if they've targeted you, it doesn't matter if you've broken the law or not. That
There
they'll
is
just say
no justice system. There is no
Yeah.
recourse.
you
There
you
is.
you look at, say, like Reality Winner, or Daniel Hale, or even the Barrett Brown case. And obviously, there's a clip of Barrett Brown. We interviewed him. Barrett Brown is a longtime friend of my wife Lauren. They knew each other, back from the Anonymous and Occupy days. Lauren appears in Hacker Wars alongside Barrett and a number of the other people in there. You look at all these cases; they make the penalty so severe, in this, or even just look at Julian Assange. If they bring up the Espionage Act, the punishment is so severe, um, that the only rational thing is to take a plea deal. It doesn't make sense when you're facing 100 years or 200 years, um, to do that. I mean, I think the only person that's really taken him up on the offer is Ross Ulbricht. I mean, even Matt DeHart, there's a new documentary out about him. He led to that shit, and I mean, they're suggesting he's a pedophile, which, like, knowing what I know about their techniques, it seems reasonable to assume that these motherfuckers are just dropping bullshit on people's hard drives,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
doing this to discredit them.
You look at the wrong Pornhub category, and they've got enough of an excuse to get an arrest warrant for you, right? Like this is.
It's a good thing that my wife makes sure to take care of my needs, and
No, that's
So Rod, like, we're up here in Canada. It's minus 25 right now. We're getting about a foot of snow. And you're down in the States. I mean, the atmosphere up here lately is becoming a lot more people shifting to the right. And it's not just the right, it's the hard right. Is the same stuff going on down there? I mean, it looks like it is. What do you feel on the ground? Like, what's going on? Is it getting worse?
it's getting crazier. As to worse, I think that a number of the factions of the hard right that were out here are actually a little bit running scared and have their tail between their legs because of the January 6th investigations. Now, mind you, what they're doing with us is I believe, in a weird way, retaliation for that as well. And I'll put it this way: most of the people who are in the bureau, or these various three-letter agencies, they're fucking conservatives themselves. They are hard right wingers. I mean, they're the real
There's a reason
fascists.
they got a
Let's-
wall full of guns in their homes, right? Like this is.
But I heard that the FBI's Marxist now. Like, come on, that's what Fox News is telling me. Come on.
Oh,
Yeah.
Well, yeah, they sure are when they get Mueller to go up there and pretend that he's going after Donald Trump. I'll tell you, from having done the Trump lawsuit and having read through the Mueller report, that not one time in the Mueller report did he properly identify the Trump organization in a legal manner. And I'll tell you this, and I know this because I sued the Trump organization. There's two of them, motherfuckers, and if you don't name them, both of
really?
them, then you're not doing it right at all. None of the news channels bothered to fucking bring this up, and I know it because when I initially filed, I filed with the one, thinking it was the one, when in reality, you have the Trump Organization Inc., and then you've got the Trump Organization LLC. And it was a matter of me having to get process servers or private detectives, to deliver these things to Trump Tower, to various offices that they had, trying any way I could just to make them accept delivery of process, which is what they call getting served. And you see that over and over in movies, and it's really not so much the way that you see in the movies. And eventually, the way that I did it was via certified mail, and I knew that the Trump campaign. And I'll try not to bore you with all this stuff, but I'll just say at the end of the day, I got them, to actually say to the court that, oh, well, you've gotten the wrong people. So they'd made contact with the court, and then in the process of that, by continuing to batter them with motions, they actually got their own two companies confused with themselves. And I pointed out that that was what their intention was, to obscure and obfuscate. And this was the reason that I had initially filed incorrectly. And this is also the reason that I know that Mueller was just doing this for show, because it's not named properly. And I know that this is such a minor legal point, but you have to understand the court system is entirely built on these minor legal points. And if they're not following that, then
Interesting.
they don't have a case. And Mueller was just doing for goddamn show.
Interesting.
And I mean, and I have no belief in the court systems. They kicked out all kinds of counts that I brought forward. One of the biggest ones was that, I mean, my case was largely based on video evidence, and they effectively said that I'd presented so much that they forgot to look at it, and they actually dismissed all my video as evidence. I'd still written it well enough that I held their feet to the fire, and they still paid me. But I did it without any of the video, which was the thing that so clearly made my point. What they wanted to do was force me into the appeals courts and make it take forever.
Yeah, yeah. Once you're in the appeal system, you're looking at years and years. That's yeah. And you're not facing an appeal on those settlements now, are you?
No, they pay me.
Excellent, excellent. What did you buy? What was? Do you still have the check? Because I would have framed that fucking thing.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute. You got a photocopy?
Oh, have you not cashed it yet?
I cashed it. This is like
okay,
the
good.
stub.
Oh, nice.
Like the stub and.
Oh yeah, you got to frame that shit. Sure. Yeah.
Yep.
As close as framed as it gets here. I don't know.
Yeah. No, I feel you on that. So.
I guess I should. I don't know. As to what I bought with it, I bought myself a movie.
Nice.
Hey.
So I should say that the movie itself is close to free to film. It's the gas money getting various places and some hard drives. But if you want to play with the big boys, which I didn't. I really have any aspiration to do at that point. Back 10 years ago, I did work in film financing, but it's largely a cesspool in which actually one of the films that I'd raised $20 million on defrauded me of my cut. The name of that film is Freaky Deaky, based on an Elmore Leonard novel starring Crispin Glover and Christian Slater. They defrauded me of $240,000 on that, but I basically gave up on that system and capitalism in general. I got involved in politics and had no interest in moving into doing a film as a capitalistic venture at that point. I'd just been putting out these activist films, and I'd put it up online and all that. But after I won the lawsuit, I was approached by this distribution company, and I said, kind of my rule of thumb in life is when someone offers something interesting, like, fuck it, yeah. So what do I got to do in order to play with the big boys, though? They wanted the film to be insured, and that was $4,000 there. There was, I don't know, it was like $5,000 in lawyers. Long story short, it starts to add up, and blah blah blah. You don't need to hear about all that. But I never did it for the money, so I didn't. I was like, okay, it's like Monopoly, the game. Like, it's whatever. Like, if now that I have all this fake money from Donald Trump, which doesn't really mean anything, now I can use it to fake buy a movie into the proper film world. Now it's on Apple.
Yeah, and I hear the reaction has been like exemplary, that people are really liking this. Like, this is,
Yeah, we got a standing ovation. There's people all over. It's on Google Play and iTunes, and even lots of flattering comments. Which I mean, listen. I mean, we know we've got fans. I'm not here to toot my own horn, but it's good.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I am excited to watch it. I got a Google Play gift card for Christmas, so that's what I'll be using that on tonight. Um, so
Uh,
yeah, this
and I will say, if anyone has questions as to how someone with anarchistic leanings as myself, I'm not going to say I'm an anarchist. That could get me in a lot of trouble.
these guys are
But
all anarchists. I'm the only communist in the room. So-
Yeah.
I vacillate.
But as to anyone who would question my credentials in that regard, I would forward you to Herbert Reed's 1941 essay, "The Paradox of Anarchism," in which he puts out the concept: sometimes you have to work with the powers that be to work against the powers that be.
Yeah,
Nice.
Good philosophy
it's
to
true.
stand by.
This is why I'm a pirate and an anarchist.
Yeah, I'm outnumbered again. God damn it. I was even
Yeah.
watching an anarchist documentary this afternoon. God.
Well, we've already
Yeah.
done it to a few people. We'll bring you over to the
Yep.
fold soon enough, so it'll happen. It'll happen. So what's in the future though? You got any future plans for any films or anything after this?
I've been filming the story of this local hermit called River Dave. You might have seen. I was making international headlines back in August, and he's just a local New Hampshire guy um, who'd been living on the river at Merrimack River in New Hampshire for 27 years, basically claiming squatters' rights. And he was jailed despite having a verbal agreement with the landowner, Leonard Giles. And it seems to me that the younger generations see that old Leonard is possibly going to pass away soon, and have decided that they want River Dave off the property. So they managed to get him thrown in jail, and basically within hours of that, they burned down his fucking cabin.
Jesus
And
Christ.
so his neighbor, and like when I say neighbor, I mean the closest guy to him, which is 2-3 miles away. This guy Bob, um, who I can't say is a full-on anarchist, but he seems to also has anarchist leanings. A friend of mine gave me a heads up, and I went out there and I started filming. And at this point, I've got a half-hour project cut together. I don't know if that will become a full feature-length documentary, but it seemed like it's a story of it's kind of like a Thoreau out there living off the land. He's self-sufficient. He's got solar panels, and so the weird twist there is that then I think late August or September. After he gets out of jail, they start all kinds of GoFundmes, for that, and I think they raised $10,000 or $20,000, which was great. But I think he really wanted to fight the case. He didn't want a new house, but we found a bit of a Pygmalion situation in which all these local people expected that, oh, we're going to buy him a house and we're going to clean him up, and he's going to be a proper member of society. Whoever was in charge of those GoFundMe's, I suspect, reached out to one of Peter Thiel's associates at a company called Palantir. Now, if you know Palantir, they're one of these global nefarious, data collection, mind control kind of companies.
They are the transnational capitalist classes data owners.
Yes. So Alex Karp, who's Peter's buddy over there at Palantir, and by the way, Barrett Brown is arch nemesis with Palantir. That's part of the reason that he went to prison. Alex Karp ponies up $180,000. Now it's allegedly with no strings attached. And actually, no, they must have raised a little more than 20, because the total came out to about $250,000, $220,000. This hermit had no interest in money, and so they had lots of celebrations and turned him into a local celebrity. They made T-shirts and everyone was coming out. He's signing autographs. just this most ridiculous situation I can imagine. They're putting up at various people's houses while they claim to be looking for another place for him to live. And lo and behold, by November, he had had enough of them. Now, two other people control the money. He hasn't seen a dime of that. No, during Thanksgiving and Christmas, people are inquiring on the Facebook group, and the moderators would say, "Merry Christmas" from River Dave and all that kind of stuff. And I had my own trouble, and also my own movie that I couldn't keep up with every little bit of it. But I would check in with Bob, who's his neighbor, and it's like, okay, I haven't heard anything bad. But the reality of the situation was that he'd gone back to the place. He no longer had his cabin. He was living in his woodshed. He had his wood stove there. And he got arrested again December 14th, unbeknownst to anyone else. And I mean, I guess except for the police and the landowners. And he also still insists that he lives in this disputed triangle of land, which, having looked at some of the real estate maps and having visited the town assessor, I don't think he's correct. But I made a post about it this past Monday. Then, of course, the Associated Press and everyone else, they all pick it up, but they don't tell the story that I told, which is, I went out there because Bob said he got attacked by one of the thugs from the Giles family. Sure enough, he's got a big cut on his head, and he says that dude pulled a gun. Um, so the police use the local newspaper, and so mind you, every time something happens, there's 100 articles from the Guardian to the AP to everything you can imagine about this hermit. Doesn't give a fuck, about any of that stuff. He's just happy to spin old yarns and have someone to talk to when they come out there. And no one had been doing it. I was literally the only one who did, aside from his neighbor Bob. But Bob doesn't make documentaries or do the news. He's just giving me a heads up, and so I was the only one to have done so. And none of the papers reported any of this stuff. They haven't reported what's going on with the people that are holding the money, and the fact that he has none. And he's just out there still, burning his logs and fishing or whatever it is that he does to get. And he won't take any help. But so then I went back again on. So I saw this. The police put out this thing on Wednesday this past week, and so I went out Thursday morning, and tried to give him a heads up. And he's like, "You ain't gonna get me to get off the land. I ain't no." I'm like, "Hey, here to say hi, let you know what's going on in the outside world. They're hey, do what you hey, listen. You're just living your life, man, right?"
Yep.
And so he chilled out. It's like, "Oh no, you're right. You're one of the good ones." I didn't know. I was just, and so we just chilled out a while. But he'd also so I tried to show him some of these there's an app for that shows the real estate maps, and he's, no, I'm in this triangle here. And he said it's just to talk to his lawyer. But he's like, "Oh, I'm not going to use my phone. I use my phone." And long story short, is he gets on the phone with his lawyer, and his lawyer convinces him, "Nope, you just need to stay there. You're in the right." And what am I going to say to this? I'm not trying to convince him to do one thing or another with his life, but this is the first time I'm even talking about this publicly, because I mean this happened very recently. And his brothers reached out to me, and who knows, maybe I'll be able to get him on camera. And maybe this, to answer your question, maybe this becomes a continuing project. In a way, I hope it does, not because I feel that I need to have another project, but if it doesn't, that means he's locked in jail, and I'd rather not have him locked in jail. The weird thing about that is he's like, "Yeah, they can lock me up. I don't care." I mean, he does not care one way or the other. He uh, he says, if I had that money, I would just be using it for a lawyer to prove I'm right. I just want to be out here till I die, and I don't care what they have to say.
And
And it's
I don't see why he should, like, is anybody, like, are they
Yeah.
trying to do something with the land? Or is
not
it
clear
just,
about it.
yeah.
No, they're just being douches. I assume that they're trying to sell it. I've asked Dave if he has reached out to the family and offered to buy it himself, because ostensibly this is what the $250,000 is for. He says he has made that offer and they've turned him down. I'm not 100% I believe him on that claim, but that's what he says.
Which is
And
sometimes a valid motivation for people.
so I don't know.
Is that
You
the,
know,
is that the one, like, I saw something on your IMDb page called Bad Kingdom?
oh no, that's like a narrative script from like 10 years ago. I don't know why
Oh,
that's
okay. It's showing as in production, so I was rather excited.
you know, maybe that's what we'll call it. We'll just switch it over, and then no one will know.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. There you go.
Build the hype. Build the hype.
How it works in Hollywood, right?
Right.
But you know, there's a couple other things that I probably can't talk about. We might, you know, turn the. Hey, if things go horribly with this FBI investigation, they'll definitely be providing a whole other movie there. I'm told that 20-minute documentary is going to be on the DVDs when they release that, and I'm not really sure if that's going out to Redbox or if they're sending it to Walmart or some other dystopian distribution outlet. I don't know. But
Excellent.
Right on.
So yeah, that's what's up. But
Well,
how about you?
well, like I said, I'm going to be watching the 2020, the dumpster fire this evening. That's my next plan immediately after this, because I did watch there is a 10-minute free preview online of the documentary, so that's kind of nice. We were watching that earlier, but yeah, I'm eager to throw myself into this as soon as we're done here, and I'll be sure to give you my full Google review, my 1.5 thumbs up. So that's.
Yeah, I tell you, do it on Rotten Tomatoes. We need more on there.
Right on.
Yes,
You got it.
yes.
The distributor says. I don't know. Do what you like.
The anarchist, you know, we'll
You're
get that
anarchist.
anarchist clout out there on Rotten Tomatoes to hype that up for you, because
But
yeah,
in the spirit of mutual aid.
of
This
course,
is what we need help in, you know?
Got to make some reviews.
yeah.
Yes.
The right thing to do.
Well,
for
no,
the
this is
community.
the horrible thing. It's like they've turned filmmaking into Facebook, which when I signed this contract, I never would have guessed. I thought you made the film and you're done, but now they're like, well, you know, if you want the movie to stay at the top 10 or whatever, it's got to be in the algorithm. You need people. I'm like, oh my god, really?
Gotta
promos out
gotta go
there,
out
gotta
and
run
get
the
yourself
circuit.
arrested again. That's what you gotta do.
Yeah.
Hey.
You know, get black bagged
I-
again.
So, speaking of that, I was actually going to go down to Art Basel again this December, but you know, quite honestly, all of this has had a chilling effect on free speech, because you know, as things are progressing, you know, you know, it seemed the sensible thing to chill out on that. I was arrested at Hunter Biden's gallery, the Burgess Gallery, in New York
Yeah,
City,
the rating on the walls with the blood. Yeah, yeah.
which was, you know, they dropped all the charges on that too. Which, you know,
Nice.
time and time again, you know, my favorite technique is using hairspray to appear to be spray paint, which gives, you know, gets a lot of people's feathers in a dander. I did it to Jeffrey Epstein's mansion too.
Oh,
I
congratulations.
hairsprayed. Epstein didn't kill himself there, as well as on Art Basel in 2019. And people lose their minds, but then all the charges get dropped because it's not actual vandalism. It washes off.
Nice.
Good to know. I've seen the chalk sprays done myself, but yeah, there's.
Bailey,
Hey.
maybe that's what we should have done so we didn't get charged with vandalism that one
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, they actually used paint, you know, and a
Yeah.
paintbrush.
The rebels. Tiny
Where'd you
little-
do it?
It's still there though.
Where'd
We
you do it?
painted one we in a back alley behind
Well,
our
don't out
house.
yourself. Don't. I mean, don't. You
Oh,
know,
we're
You need a
already
map
Oh,
to
this
get
is
it's
there.
done.
This is
They've
like
already
9
been
years
arrested.
ago. 9 years
Yeah.
ago now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So behind a back alley, dead end alley, we just decided to paint one solitary brick black with the words "I'm just another brick in the wall." in
I'm
red.
not just another brick
Yeah,
in the
sorry,
wall.
not just another brick in the wall.
Mm.
Took a picture, posted it on Facebook. 2 weeks later, they raided our apartment.
raided. They
Yeah,
raided.
Yeah.
raided.
What?
Like
Raided.
literally came in with their guns out, arrested us. Mike wasn't home at the time. It was just me and someone else there at the time. But
No, so was it like the Canadian Mounted Police with the horses and all
Exactly.
that?
Yeah.
Rode up the stairs.
One
Dudley
had a
Do
moose
Right's
Yep.
whistling up the stairs as he comes.
with
I mean,
beaver
that-
pelts.
I believe that if Vermin Supreme was able to harness the awesome power of the Canadian Mounted Police, he would have his Ponatopia.
yes.
Oh, yeah. The Canadian ponies, the big ponies. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if I remember
Yeah.
correctly, we're not allowed to use their imagery because the RCMP sold it to Disney back in the late 90s.
What?
Yes.
Why haven't I heard of this before?
That's bizarre.
Fucked.
Yes, the Mounties licensed the red sash or the red surge, I think it is called, or something like that, which is their red uniform. They licensed that to Disney. So that's don't want to infringe any trademarks there.
Dudley Do Right type stuff or what?
Yep, I think it was around the time that what's his name, Encino Man.
Oh,
Pauly Shore.
Oh, Brendan
Jesus.
Fraser.
Brendan Fraser.
Pauly
Brendan
Shore,
Fraser
yeah.
was doing the Dudley Do Right movie for Disney. So
Ugh.
that's yeah.
Okay.
Dreadful.
I'm a pop culture commie, so that's-
You're a few things.
Fair
Well,
enough.
we really appreciate you coming on the show there, bud. And
appreciate it.
Good to meet you.
yeah,
Hey,
sorry about the
us
glitch
being
at the
royally.
beginning.
Yes.
And we're looking forward to more things to come from you. Definitely don't see you stopping any of the stuff, you and your rowdy little crew. So
Well, not unless they lock us up, but as long as we're free, even if we're free, hopefully, my editor will put some stuff. I'll
Well, you should watch the show so that he's got money for bail and more lawyers.
there we go.
there you go.
Yeah, everybody tune in.
There's our mutual aid. So what's your Cash App just in case? Your JPay account? Throw some money in the commissary.
It's my name across the board, RODWBBER.
Excellent. So yeah, that's Rod Weber at twitter.com and Rod Weber on YouTube and rodweber.com, I believe, correct?
Yes, and Rod Weber at Cash App.
Hey, there we go. Rod Weber at Cash App.
There you go.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much, Rod. This has been fantastic, and I'm sure our paths will cross again.
Yep.
Glad to have
if you
met
want
you.
to stick with us for a bit, we'll just
Oh, for
sign
sure.
off.
I love hearing the word again.
Again?
Do you want to talk about our dialectics now and our
I'm
regional?
sorry. No.
I'm sorry. Get a
Excellent.
Timmy's, eh?
I don't know. I didn't mean to make fun.
Oh, that's okay. It happens.
Yeah.
We're good. We're good. We're good.
So
Oh, yeah.
Before we disappear here, I came across this, and it's 10 o'clock here. We've all got places to be and things to do, but this is the first time I came across this. This is apparently one of the top memes of the year, and it seems to coincide with anniversary of the
How do I get the sound up?
See where Space Gamer is there?
Yep.
Click on him to watch stream.
Okay. There we go.
What happened to you?
I got maced.
You got maced.
By the police.
And what happened? You were trying to go inside the Capitol?
I made it like a foot inside and they pushed me out and they maced me.
What's your name? Where are you from?
My name is Elizabeth. I'm from Knoxville, Tennessee.
And why did you want to go in?
We're storming the Capitol. It's a revolution.
What happened to you?
I got maced.
Oh man.
So,
It just really ties the whole event
I
together.
love America, and thank you for keeping that show as entertaining for me as possible because it's coming here. We see the same parallels that are happening in Canada, and
People like to say that Canada's different and Canada's better, and it's just not.
No.
Hey, maybe
smaller.
for 2024, me and Vermin can come and we'll troll Trudeau.
Yes.
Oh, please.
Yes, please do that.
You have
Can
an
do the Ontario
Please.
election? That'd be fun.
Yes.
You have an
Oh my
open
God.
invite. You guys have an open
Abso-fucking-lutely.
invite anytime you want. Okay.
Yeah, I think You guys have like the crazy flying loony party or something?
We have the rhinoceros party.
Yep, that one.
Yep.
Yep.
We also have the PPC party, which is basically the white nationalist party.
The
Yeah.
People's Party.
Yeah.
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 Not our
It's
peoples.
interesting politically. You
Yeah.
remember our crackhead mayor that was making the rounds? a while
Yeah.
ago?
Well, his brother is the premier of Ontario.
Yeah.
His brother's basically
Yeah.
our governor now. So
Awesome.
Yeah.
But not for long.
No.
They'll replace him with
Hopefully
someone
he's
worse.
out later this year. But
perfect.
That guy was fun.
At least it's entertaining, right? Like at least if you're gonna go to the show, at least make it a good show, right?
Right.
That's-
yeah.
I mean, like, what would the fall of Rome be without Caligula?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It'd be a lot less horses and cherries in Roddy McDowell films.
Hey, I feel as though we should just get it over with here. Just make one man, king for life, and dispense with these elections or the notions.
I
of them.
keep telling
Make
these
some-
anarchists that if you want to elect me king of Metopia, I'm okay with this. Like this is
Exactly. So then we get to have all the pageantry, the robes, jewels, and everything. It's like a 24-hour Liberace concert.
Nice.
on that note, Clay Aiken's running for Congress, so
Nice.
Oh wow.
those rock star candidates. Okay, well, I think we're pretty much done for this evening. We know you've got places to go. What time zone are you in right now? You in West Coast?
Yeah, it's 10 o'clock here, 10:09.
Oh, nice. So you're in
okay.
time, so
Okay,
excellent.
Basically
excellent
the
stuff.
same as ours.
Okay, well, thank you for giving us as much of your limited time as you have, and yeah, we'll all reconvene here probably again at some point and catch you on the next round.
All righty.
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks a
Thank you
lot.
very
See you
much,
next
guys.
week, everybody.
Thank you.
All right.
Tune in next week.